I wanted to share some cardboard joining techniques. So what you'll need for this project in general is a pair of scissors, hot glue gun, some cardboard, foam core, mat board, X-Acto knife, utility knife, extra blades. They dull very quickly, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to get this out of my way. Okay, so I think that the most important technique you can use are these cut notches that you can then adhere to be a really sturdy, strong sort of cross section. You can call it an X joint, a T joint, whatever you want to call it. So what you do for that is start by cutting a notch, and make sure your utility blades are extremely sharp. Change them every time they seem dull. And then you'll want to cut, you can see, about the width or the depth of the cardboard. So be very careful. You can sort of just rip this out of here. And then you'll have this really nice notch. So you'll see that. You can cut just a line directly in, but then everything sort of doesn't fit together as nicely. So I think having these two pieces with these nice notches, the depth of the cardboard, work the nicest. And cut them about halfway through so that they sort of meet in the middle. They cross over and they fit really nicely. See, they're the same, the cardboard's the same length, width. I sort of have a really nice strong cross section going on. So that's one. I'm gonna move these out of the way. You also want to have your ruler ready. Having a straight edge is really, really important. It'll keep everything really clean, really crisp. So another really, really important tool. A lot of these I pre-cut to show you, so where there's that. So the second thing is what's really important is scoring the cardboard. So scoring the cardboard is going to be really important for a lot of these techniques. How do we do that? We cut just the top layer of the cardboard. So you'll see how thick this cardboard is. We just want to cut that top layer, kind of rip the paper of it, you kind of see. And then we're just sort of grazing the top, and then you can sort of crack it. So see how that cracks? One side will be sort of jagged like this, but this side's still attached. See how smooth this still is. You can also bend it this way and get a really smooth edge. This will be important for a lot of those techniques. You might be inclined to cut separate pieces and then fit them together. You can absolutely do that. But sometimes it's kind of a pain to join those edges together just with glue. It can be a little messy as well. Something you can do is cut. So I'll cut this all the way through now and use this as a piece. I say use a cutting mat. I'm using a piece of cardboard as my cutting mat. It'll sort of let my blade sort of cut more and not get as dull as quickly. But I definitely suggest using a cutting mat. Okay, so we'll cut a small strip like this and score it like I just said. Bend, whichever way you want. And then you can sort of combine those two pieces like that. I know that looks a little bit messy, but it'll be really strong. It won't come apart. You can even use that other technique I was sort of talking about, those notches. And again, I'd probably want to use a straight edge, be a little crisper with this. I'm being a little quick and messy right now. But cut a notch. That notch is a little too tall, but that's okay. It's just an example. And then say I cut another notch about halfway. Again, I said that before. And it takes a little messing with to sort of pop that paper out, but it does come out pretty easily. And then you can sort of attach those two ends like so. It's a little messy, and you'll see that you still have these two edges, but you can fold them in and make sort of a lip on it. You'd be able to glue that down, this part down, and sort of give it like a nice little edge. That's just another thing you can do. Something else, if you want to make a square, something that's really important to note. So this is pre-cut, but okay, so I scored everything, and you might think that you only need 4 panels because that's all that you need for a square, but you're going to want to have this 5th one to attach everything to. It'll hold everything really nicely. And it'll sort of look like this. Put a little glue in there. You have a neat little square. Every edge is smooth because I folded it that back way. You can also, if you wanted to, you can either use your fingers or your knife, peel some of that paper off, expose the corrugated part of the cardboard, and crush it, making this like a thin sort of piece of paper. And then when you attach it, it really sort of disappears. So whichever way you want to attach it. There you go. So another thing you can do are these sort of triangle braces. So what you'll need is, I mean, you can use 2 separate pieces. My piece is scored like this so I can bend it, but if you were to use 2 completely separate pieces, that's fine too, to attach this way. And you make 2 equal triangles. So these are my equal triangles, and I would attach them like this, right? So then after I glue it, and you probably want to glue it a little neater than this. Again, I'm being messy and quick. You'll sort of have this nice little cross section that's, again, really, really, really strong. Like I'm pushing pretty hard, and it's not, that went somewhere because it was past the triangle, but it's not really going anywhere. That might be nice for attaching certain areas as well, or even making different items like furniture and things like that. All of these things can be useful for that. So what else? You can make little feet sort of like this. So for this, what did I do? Took a strip of cardboard. I'm gonna scoot this camera up a bit. Uh-oh, did I freeze it? 1 second. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this rolling again. Okay, I think we're good now. So I cut all the way through a few different times. You can do as many times as you want. Then I scored one edge all the way across those little notches as high as I went up. And then I bend them every other one goes in the opposite direction. So then if I were to glue it here, it would stand and it wouldn't fall in either direction. That might be a good way to make your walls stand up. It would look something like this, right? And that might look a little messy to you. You can always take another piece of cardboard and just sort of cover that up if you wanted to, neaten it up a little bit. But it is a really nice way to make sure that your walls kind of don't go anywhere. You can also have a lot of messiness going on as per usual. Again, these little squares, these little scored squares are really, really helpful for attaching things. So you see that these are 2 separate squares. They're not scored. You can see if I bend them all the way that they're 2 separate pieces that I then attached with these little scored squares. And same thing, you can cover that with another piece of cardboard, and it's a little thicker, but it cleans everything up and it's really strong. So what else do I want to show you? Here's something nice you can do. You can sort of score the top of it and then peel the paper back and reveal this, again, corrugated part of the cardboard. And all this paper kind of comes out if you wanted to keep peeling at it, make it a little smoother. but that might be a nice texture for blinds, windows, other things. And you can even peel the back off and just make it one little corrugated piece, make it like a blanket. There are so many things you can do with cardboard that are really exciting. You can notch out the middle of a piece the same way I notched these X's. Notch out the middle, cut a piece, send it through. Again, really strong. These are techniques you might want to use for the structure of your house, for your furniture and things, or things you want to use to decorate your house. Cardboard is a really amazing material, and it's a really exciting material, and there's so many things you can do with it. You can use paper towel rolls and make a flange like I sent in some of those images that I showed. There really are so many things you can do. And then all of these things, like if you connect these two pieces, maybe you want to put a little glue in there, push them together. Of course, there are a million other things we can do, but these are a lot of really helpful little tips. I think this cross section that I showed with the notches will be the best for sort of building your internal walls. And you can make everything meet. So I think that might be your best solution for most things. And then for outside walls, you can even score, bend, connect, right? And make these really nice little things. You can even cut doorways out of your panels. So if you want a doorway, how would you cut a doorway that you still want to be attached? You can cut a doorway where everything's completely open. That's simple. I cut a little bit through, but you can be a little neater if you do it a little slower. So that's cut all the way through, right? I might want to be my doorway. But you can also just cut two edges and just score this third edge. So I'm just grazing it, right? I'm just lightly cutting into that piece. I didn't cut all the way through here, but I can go back. You might want to score most of your pieces as you go, just to sort of get an idea for things before you fully cut them out. But then you can pop it out, and it becomes a door that's still attached. It can still close. It can go either way. So you might want to do that as well. Maybe you have an arch that is open, but then there's doors that kind of sit like this, or you have one of those doors that kind of halfway opens in the middle. You could do that as well. Again, I didn't cut quite through, but there's a lot of fun things you can do. As always, ask me questions if you have them, but I think this is a good base idea for cardboard joining techniques, and I'll go further into it as time goes on.